What's up, Asia? It's your girl, Sheryl. Of course I heard the announcement. Listen, I just want to say from a former 22 to another 22.
When you look at other athletes who have or are getting their own signature shoes, and Asia getting hers, and I know it's going to be good because it's Asia.
I love the way she dropped it.
Me
Iconic.
too. Me
Iconic with the sweatshirt.
Her apostrophe is a swoosh. So I recorded a video and sent it to her because it was like, I don't know if I ever thought that I would be seeing this. In a way, I kind of felt like I was passing the torch.
Yes.
And not only being the first woman, but being the first black woman. And for Asia to be only the second black woman to get her own signature shoe is, yeah.
It's thanks to you.
After Aja Wilson kept a secret for 2 years, now Sheryl Swoopes wants to act all proud, congratulating her for keeping it quiet. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark gets roasted over landing a Nike deal. Aja's just chilling, sipping sweet tea, watching the internet tear Caitlin down for no reason. The fakeness is next level. Straight manipulation. Let's break this down.
They've always been the brand, the company that thinks outside of the box. And I always say somebody had to be the first. And I was blessed enough and lucky enough that I got to be.
Now Sheryl Swoopes wants to play nice? Suddenly congratulating Aja Wilson on her new Nike deal after spending last season acting like Caitlin Clark was just some random player at the YMCA? Nah, we remember, Sheryl. We're not forgetting that energy. Keep it consistent because the timeline tells the real story.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
That's crazy.
5
Is
points,
that dominant?
5.6
Those are
turnovers
hell of a
too.
number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
Now,
If
No.
because if she's putting up numbers like Asia right now, would she be dominating?
Yes.
So it's a
Let's be real. Aja Wilson knew that sneaker deal was locked in. Nike had her name on that contract from the start. But did she step in to stop the internet from dragging Caitlin Clark over her deal? Nope. Aja was chilling, sipping her tea, enjoying the show. She didn't lift a finger to say, hey, my deal's coming too. Instead, she watched the drama unfold, letting the streets burn while keeping quiet. Now that's some next-level shade.
And Aja Wilson was oddly silent, but complicit. All right, why was she complicit? Because, well, she knew she was getting a signature shoe for 2 years, and she let Caitlin Clark take all.
Here's what went down. Caitlin Clark, in her rookie glow, signs the biggest rookie shoe deal in wnba history, and the internet completely loses it. People were out here wilding, demanding justice for Aja like she was out here barefoot. Where's Aja's shoe? They screamed at Nike, probably making some interns spill their iced coffee. And Aja? She's sitting back, probably texting her group chat like, y'all see this? They really mad, huh? Meanwhile, she's just enjoying the chaos, knowing her deal is already locked in.
How could they give Caitlin a shoe before they give Asia one? Oh, how could they do this? How could they treat Asia like this? 2-time MVP at the time, just before she even won the damn third one. They is wrong.
Then, boom. Nike drops the Aja Wilson shoe like it's straight out of a telenovela. Instead of people saying, all right, we were just being impatient, they doubled down with, nah, Caitlin doesn't deserve hers. And guess who's lurking in the background, co-signing the drama? That's right, Sheryl Hater Supreme Swoopes. Classic move.
That's right. They're giving Aja Wilson her own signature shoe. There you go. Anybody. I want the Aja Wilson. Who? Why? Yeah, she's some WNBA player. Who? No, she's one of the all-time greatest players ever. Why?
Let's talk about Sheryl Swoopes for a second. Miss I Invented Women's Basketball herself. Last season, when Caitlin Clark was out here breaking records like a toddler with an iPad, did Sheryl show any love? Nope. She treated Caitlin like just another player who got lucky. Every time someone tried to give Caitlin her flowers, Sheryl was right there with the lawnmower chopping them down. Fast forward and suddenly, she's the queen of congratulations? Girl, bye. And let's not pretend like Asia's hands are clean in this either. She knew exactly what was going on. She could have tweeted, "Hey, I've got a shoe dropping, no worries." But she watched the internet go in on Caitlyn and stayed silent. She didn't have to throw Caitlyn a life raft, but she definitely didn't throw a lifeline either. At the end of the day, both ladies got their shoe deals. Both are rolling in money, and Nike's over there like an evil villain, rubbing their hands together because they got exactly what they wanted. Free promo from all the drama. But the real MVP? The internet. Y'all turned a single shoe deal into a full-blown conspiracy theory, and I, for one, appreciate the commitment to the mess.
Because there are very few roster spots. Like, it's a real job. So people look at new players coming in, whether that's out of college, players who've been overseas, and they look at that and say, oh, you trying to come take my job. Like, nah, it's not gonna be that easy. So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately.
Now, let's talk about Nike. The swoosh of betrayal. The same brand that took one look at A'ja Wilson's dominance and said, yeah, let's wait a few more years, is now acting like they've been down since day one. A'ja finally gets her signature shoe. Finally. But instead of a pure celebration, we get drama, debates, and Sheryl Swoopes out here doing full-on protection detail like she's been assigned to the Secret Service. Nike can't even acknowledge Caitlin Clark. It's like they woke up one day and decided, let's just pretend Caitlin doesn't exist. You think I'm exaggerating? In their latest ad, they straight up forgot her, dropping a women's basketball commercial and forgetting the one player who's making headlines every day. The backlash was so bad that they had to rush back into the studio and edit in a voiceover, like some last-minute group project scramble.
Oh, that's right. I didn't hear Caitlin Clark's name. That's why we don't jump for joy when Nike does one good thing. Oh, one good thing. Nike's Nike at the end of the day. There's a reason why their stock has been...
And what about A'ja Wilson? Oh, the self-proclaimed face of the league, who's now under investigation by the basketball gods? Her career's apparently in ruins. You'd think she'd been involved in some major scandal with the way people are questioning her legacy. But nah, all she did was exist at the same time as Caitlin Clark, and suddenly, that's enough to put her whole reputation in a chokehold. The funniest part? Caitlin's somehow getting blamed for everything. People are acting like she was in some dark room, twirling her mustache, plotting A'ja's downfall. Be so for real. Caitlin didn't do anything but hoop and exist, and now they're looking at her like, you could have stopped this, Caitlin. Oh, really? Was she supposed to call up Nike and say, hey guys, you sure you got the final cut of that ad? Don't forget to include me because, I'm kind of the biggest thing in women's basketball right now.
And we'll throw the voiceover in of you saying Caitlin Clark and everybody will be happy, right? Everybody will be happy, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody cheered because we had a little Caitlin Clark cameo on a commercial. So this should be enough. So this is what they ended up doing with Caitlin Clark.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com. You.
Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee. Nike. I was born at night. I was. I woke up today. I saw this. I checked my birth certificate just to make sure. Yeah, I was born at night. Not last night, Nike. Not last night.
But let's be honest. Nike's not the only one scrambling. The WNBA's out here acting like they just found out basketball's a thing. They've been begging people to watch for years, and now that millions are tuning into Caitlin, they're caught off guard. Oh no, too much attention, we weren't ready for this kind of spotlight. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's looking around like, Hold up. Y'all don't think I'm the GOAT anymore? No, Asia. They don't. Being the best isn't just about winning a few rings in a league that wasn't exactly stacked with competition. It's about moving the game forward. And guess who did that? Caitlin Clark. And don't even get me started on Sheryl Swoopes. The way she's acting, you'd think she's got personal beef with Caitlin. Every time she's asked about her, she sounds like an old head who's mad that new music's a thing. Back in my day, we had to walk 10 miles in the snow just to get our games on national TV. Okay, Grandma, and nobody told you to play when the WNBA was running on spare change. The league's evolved, but instead of celebrating it, she's out here trying to gatekeep greatness.
Sheryl Swoopes' hatred for Caitlin Clark is just weird at this point. No disrespect to one of the GOATs, because Sheryl Swoopes is one of the greatest women's basketball players of all time, hands down, ain't no ifs, ands, or but about it. But for whatever reason, she do not mess with Caitlin Clark at all. And Sheryl Swoopes is coming for anybody who has anything.
You know what's wild? If Caitlin Clark had said even one bad thing about A'ja Wilson or anyone else, they would have dragged her for weeks. But A'ja? She's been throwing all kinds of backhanded shots, and everyone's just like, oh, she's just passionate. Nah, she's just mad. Mad that no matter what she does, the conversation isn't about her anymore. And the crazy part? Caitlin could have gone full villain mode, and honestly, could have ended careers. But she didn't. She's just out here minding her business, draining threes and breaking records while everyone else sits around trying to figure out why their era doesn't matter anymore. Sorry, A'ja, but being dominant in a league nobody was watching doesn't hit the same when there's a new sheriff in town.
For people out there that don't think Caitlin Clark is the reason and the driving force behind the WNBA, I don't know how many times I have to say this. She just got the most votes for a WNBA player compared to A'ja Wilson last year. And here it is right here. Caitlin Clark had 735,000 votes compared to A'ja Wilson last year with 95,000. How can anyone sit here and say that Caitlin Clark is not the driving force behind the It's at this point, I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record.
So now we're at a point where Nike had to pull a last-minute Hail Mary just to squeeze Caitlin Clark into a commercial, knowing the backlash would be brutal if they didn't. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's watching her so-called legacy get tossed around like a loose rebound. And Sheryl Swoopes? Well, she's somewhere writing another paragraph about how Caitlin needs to respect the game, aka pretend she isn't the biggest thing to happen to it since they started paying players real money.
Take a listen. They voice over it.
Selling Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark.
She's not.
I know you want a tea.
Okay. She's not even talking. Like she's silent, and two, it's a voiceover.
Selling Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tea.
Okay. So someone edited that in post-production. They put a voiceover. They made her send him through voicemail with the Caitlin Clark parts to appease us. Like that.
At this point, I'll say it. Nike doesn't really seem to like Caitlin Clark either. When all hell broke loose over the shoe deal, why didn't Nike step up and say, hey, we've got something coming for A'ja Wilson? No, they stayed silent. Let's be real. A'ja deserved that shoe years ago. She's been running the WNBA like a personal highlight reel, stacking MVPs like they're nothing. But now, the conversation's not even about the shoe. Nope. It's about the fact that Sheryl Swoopes has decided to be the official spokesperson for Team A'ja and the unofficial bouncer for the MVP discussion this season.
Sheryl Swoopes, you beautiful, actually not so beautiful. You tell us that, well, Caitlin Clark used an extra year. She didn't. Shoots 40 times a game. She did. Sheryl Swoopes is among the dumbest people ever and one of the most talented ever. Really, if you look at Sheryl Swoopes' basketball history, she certainly should be considered among the greats. But all that goes away when you're inherent.
Caitlin Clark? Oh, she thought she was in the race. But here comes Swoopes, acting like the nightclub security guard, blocking the entrance. Nah, sweetie, we're at full capacity. You can watch from the outside. Caitlin's standing at the velvet rope with her fresh Nike GT hustles, hoping for a chance to get in. And Swoopes is just giving her the side eye like, not on my watch. Now, let's talk about A'ja. She could have used this moment to be the leader we know she is, maybe throw Caitlin some love, make sure she's not getting dragged by every WNBA vet who's still holding onto old grudges over ESPN's coverage. But instead, Swoopes is in full big sister mode, making sure nobody even dares to mention MVP in the same breath as Caitlyn. Like, girl, chill. The season's far from over. We've still got plenty of games ahead. This is like calling the winner of a marathon at mile 10, while the runner in second place is picking up speed. Honestly, if Caitlyn hits 30 points per game and the Fever start racking up wins, we might need to have extra security to stop Swoopes from hijacking the ESPN set and turning it into her own personal campaign for Asia.
I want to say literally maybe a day before my jersey retirement.
Okay.
And they were like stunned, like, and then I think my mom was like, yep, of course, I knew it was going to be pink. Like, they all knew they had to do something with pink, but they were just so happy.
Caitlin Clark has been putting in the work, grinding behind the scenes, and dedicating herself to her craft, making sure she's ready for whatever challenges come her way. But what's wild is that, despite all her hard work, there's been this constant, unnecessary negativity and debate surrounding her. The situation with A'ja Wilson is just another example of how different standards are applied to certain players. Caitlyn's fans are making it clear they won't stand for her being disregarded the way A'ja has been. For years, A'ja Wilson has been one of the most dominant forces in the WNBA, yet she hasn't always received the respect she deserves, even from brands like Nike. Now, with Caitlyn stepping onto the professional stage, her fans are ensuring she doesn't face the same lack of recognition. They're calling out the double standards and demanding respect not only for Caitlyn, but for women's basketball as a whole. The constant disrespect has gone on long enough, and it's time for a change in how star players, regardless of race, background, or fan base, are treated in the league. The narrative needs to shift, and players like Caitlyn and A'ja should be given the recognition they've earned, both on and off the court.
This is what people don't want to forget to understand. Caitlin Clark is not just leading the country in scoring, she's leading the country in assists. So before people shit on her and say all she does is shoot the ball, she actually is the one dishing the ball too. She placed a record last week, and everyone is congratulating her. You name the person, they are congratulating her. Starting with the woman whose record she broke, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Tom Brady, Calvert Chaney, Brittany Griner, Gus Johnson, Zach Edey, Dame Lillard, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Jackie Stiles, Alex Morgan, a U.S. soccer player, Billie Jean King, Barack Obama, the former president of the United States, Pat McAfee, Magic Johnson, Dawn Staley. These are just some of the names that I found that actually congratulated her publicly for what she did, for that accomplishment. You know who they? Sheryl Swoopes.
As we head into the new season, it's clear Caitlyn will have a target on her back. Whether from critics, opposing players, or the media, there will be people hoping to see her stumble. But knowing Caitlyn, she'll let her game speak for itself. The Indiana Fever are working to build something special, and while a championship might take time, they're focused on competing at the highest level. As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on the court, where the true statements will be made. So congrats to A'ja on the new shoe. Congrats to Caitlyn for being Nike's golden child. And congrats to Sheryl Swoopes for once again finding a way to be unnecessarily pressed about a woman who's literally done nothing to her. Let the game speak for itself. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.